Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another podcast with me, your host, Deanna Torres. I don't like intros like that. I think that's the last time I'm going to do that. That doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel me. Well, it feels like me as, hey, girl, let's talk some crap. Yeah, I'm going to keep it at that one. Today, y'all, I love this episode. I really do say that every single episode. But y'all don't understand. Today, I really deeply, truly in my soul love this topic because it is such a problem with so many people of our society. It's such a problem with me. Still working on it, still not perfect on this, but this is something that I like to call the chameleon effect. Now, what is the chameleon effect? The chameleon effect is the unconscious habit of changing who you are based upon your surroundings. Now, why do we do it? Why do we turn into a chameleon? Why do we turn into lizard people the moment that our brains just need other people to like us? Well, there's three big reasons. Okay, number one, fear of rejection. All of us are terrified of rejection. Who wants to be rejected? Who wants to be kicked out? Nobody. And because of that fear of rejection, we want to be liked. Not only do we not want to get kicked out, but we want to genuinely be liked by everybody. Who doesn't want to be loved by the masses? And why do we want to be loved by the masses? Because we want to avoid conflict. That right there, I can't do conflict. I can't fight. I'm not a fighter. I can't come at you with fast facts. I'm not a debater. My brain don't work like that. I need about 3 to 5 business days to put together an argument. So I can't be approached. I can't have conflict. But also, I'm not a fighter. I'm not a physical fighter. I've never punched anyone in my life. Well, there was one time. It was a left hook too. I won't get into that right now. A point is, I don't like conflict. A lot of people don't like conflict. So what are we going to do? We're just going to agree. I'm going to say, yeah, I agree with you. You're right. But really, when does this thing start? When do we try to blend in so much with our surroundings and with our society? Well, usually it starts in childhood. Now, if your life looks a little bit like mine, let me paint you a picture. I grew up in a home that was very sporadic. You could say one little thing and next thing you know, there's stomping, there's slamming doors, there's slaps, there's hits, there's screams. The whole day could turn in 2.5 seconds. So what did I learn to do? Please everyone. Change myself based on the surroundings. I gotta look at my surroundings. I gotta see, am I safe here? Is this cool? How do I act to avoid conflict? What do I do so everybody likes me, so nobody's fighting, so nobody's yelling, nobody's slamming doors? I become a chameleon and I change myself and I change my truest self to keep myself safe. Now that I've trauma dumped on you. There's also not so serious ones. There's pressure from school, pressure from social pressure from your friends, wanting to be in the right type of group of friends, you know what I mean? It can even come from work, wanting to seem like you're this boss babe when really you're not. That was me. I am not a boss babe. Yeah, so personally for me, like I said, some ways that I became the chameleon, it came through childhood. It came through, some of it came through social pressure of friends. I started cheerleading. I did in middle school. I really thought I was popular. I really thought I was the shit. I changed a lot of things that year in middle school, or those 3 years. Listen, I used to love musicals. And I said, cut that ish out. Miss Ma'am, I am a cheerleader. Miss Ma'am, I am a flyer, nonetheless. I cannot be singing Wicked in front of these other 13-year-olds. There were other times that I changed my looks, kind of changed my hobbies, and this could be for friends, but y'all, I'm going to be quite honest with you. A lot of this was because of boyfriends. Something about, I don't know what it is, that prime age of 15 to 19. Sometimes I look at God and I'm like, I'm sorry. Now that my frontal lobe is developed, I don't know either. I don't know why I thought I had to change myself for these teenage boys. They'll get you. I tried to get in, I tried to get into pop punk music. What the I was a die-hard Lil Wayne fan. Still am a little bit. I can't be sitting there listening to My Chemical Romance. I hated it. There were even times y'all, I I was such a chameleon. I would change myself so much. All of this, side note, a lot of this was just subconsciously. Like, I really did not think like, okay, I'm in front of this person, I need to like watch what I say. No, a lot of this is subconscious. Like you just kind of like shut off certain parts of yourself and you don't allow yourself to tap into that subconsciously. Like, I did not know I was doing this for the longest time until I became an adult. That was years of not being myself. That's so sad. That's so sad, of not letting everybody around you like know the real you for so long, to like try to protect yourself and protect your inner child, protect your mental health. Like, that sucks. But I got so deep into this. I started noticing, like, when I started making the switch of being like, okay, something's wrong with me mentally, and I started becoming more self-aware about this chameleon effect, I started realizing when I was around people, like, I would change my laughter. The tone in which I laughed. A laugh is supposed to come from you. I feel like a laugh, like, no matter how cute or quiet or just loud and ugly it is, I feel like when you genuinely find something funny and you start laughing, like, that's you. Like, that's your soul speaking. Whatever noise decides to come out your mouth, that's you. But I literally, my laughter would change depending on who I was with. That's disgusting. That's psychopathic behavior. Am I a serial killer? But now, once I started realizing that I was doing these things, once all of these things started clicking to me, and I was like, yo, this is a little weird. Every single time I find a new friend group, I kind of become them, and I adopt a lot of their weird tendencies that I never liked before. I started spiraling. And this is what clicked. I'm like, I don't even know what I like anymore. And once I started taking out like all of the outside factors and a lot of like the outside people from my life, I realized I was like, I don't know who I am. I've adopted everybody else's interests. I've adopted everybody else's likes, their tendencies, their tics. It's weird. And I never fully got to understand who I was as a person. So once all that went away and I'm just like sitting here by myself, I'm like, who am I? My chin disappeared because I'm so perplexed. I got so scared to even like let the real me out, because once you're hiding yourself for so long, it becomes scary to like rediscover that part of yourself, right? And it becomes scary to let out your opinions to everybody else. Like, even though I became a Christian, I am still kind of terrified to tell people about my beliefs. I'm such a scared person of just people not liking me. Yee. Especially when you make such a huge change in your life and you start like telling other people your interests or like your beliefs, like it gets weird. And it's like you don't want to let those things out because you want to continue to protect yourself. But at the same time, if you're not letting those things out and if you're not letting people understand who the real you is, then that's not fair to your friends and family. It's really not, because you're just being fake. And you may not intentionally try to be fake. Like I said earlier, it's probably a lot of it is subconscious, but it really is. It's a lie. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to your friends and your family, and you're going to get tired. That's the next step. Exhaustion will set in. You're going to be so tired of trying to keep up this fake identity. You're going to start feeling lost. You're going to get disconnected to who you really were. I started recognizing I became uncomfortable. When I would leave social situations, I realized that I was trying so hard to make everybody like me that when I left, I was exhausted. Mentally, my mental capacity was completely drained. My battery was low because I felt like my subconscious was just constantly turning and turning. What can I say? What can I do? How can I laugh? How can I dress? How can I act? How can my makeup be? How can I make somebody else happy? How can I do this? How can I present myself? And it's just like subconsciously, you just feel drained. And I was like, why do I never feel good leaving any social situation? Like, I can't just go out with friends or go out with new people, especially, and just like have a good time and like talk about myself, ask them about them. Like, it got weird. And I was like, what is the problem with me? What's the issue? And I realized I'm not being me. I'm a little chameleon in the corner. And then after the exhaustion sets in, this is the sad part. You're going to hit a brick wall and you're going to realize that even though I'm trying this hard for people to like me, there are still going to be people that don't like you anyways. You can't please everybody. There are 7, 8, 9, I don't even know how many billions of people there are in the world now. There's billions of people. You think that you're going to please every single human on this earth? That would be exhausting. Even the most famous, influential people in this world, in history, not everybody likes them. Sorry to break it to you, but not everybody's a fan of T Swift. Even though it seems like every human on this planet is in the T Swift cult. I'm not. I might get a lot of hate for that. I'm sorry. I was a big fan when I was like 13, but now I don't get it. Swifties don't come for me. I apologize. But see, like I'm saying, you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I'd like to say I'm a chamomile. Some people want an Earl Grey. Some people want a sweet tea. Some people want an oolong. Where am I going with this? I think a huge part of this that hasn't really been touched on is social media culture. I feel like a lot of the times I talk about social media culture, but like this is my job. I shouldn't hate on it so much, because then no one's gonna watch me. Like, no one's gonna pay attention to my content. Like, I need this, y'all. But yes, okay, there are a lot of downsides to social media, and this is a huge one. Social media and the comparison culture is what makes us feel that we have to constantly change, right? We have to constantly be on trend. If we're not talking about this trending topic, if we're not making videos or having pictures or having this certain hairstyle or this certain like type of clothing that's on trend, then we're not progressive. We're not fitting in to our society, to our culture, right? But it just makes us feel like we have to adapt constantly. We can't just like sit in who we are. We can't just like be. Like, we have to constantly be evolving, which of course, yes, has its upsides. Like, I believe as human beings, we always have to be learning and evolving. But what I mean by this is I'm talking about like glow up in 30 days, become completely unrecognizable, change who you are in 1 year. Why can't we just be comfortable with who we are to our core and then like change habits? Like, become healthier. But I feel like when we're constantly feeding ourselves on social media to new trends, even new like home designs, dude, even the style of homes change so drastically. When I look at my Pinterest page, I see all of like my list of my dream homes. Bro, it's changed like 3 times in 1 year. I went to like love and cottage core, to like the farmhouse with like the white and the black trim, to now I want a colonial era home. Now I want to feel like a princess in my house. Make it make sense, because this is why I'm terrified of being a home buyer, because I'm like, I can't. My brain changes so much and my likes change so much now, and I'm adapting to this trend culture that I literally just like I can't buy things for my home and let it be. In like 5 weeks, I'm not gonna like it. I'm gonna see something else on Instagram, I'm gonna see something else on Pinterest, and I'm gonna be like, that's better. I want that. But you see what I'm saying? Like, you're always gonna find something better on social media, somebody that looks better, a hair color that you like better, and it's just like you constantly want to change and be somebody else, and we're not able to just sit in who we are and be comfortable with who we are. So we got to adapt. It's like training our subconscious to constantly adapt to everything. Now, I know something that all of you guys are wondering: how did I break free? I'm soaring, climbing. There's not a star in heaven that we can't reach if we're trying, so we're breaking free. Gosh, this is a great freaking movie. I think I might watch this after this. I started like testing small acts of my authenticity, meaning when I was around new people or just like newer friends or something, I would purposefully ask them like a political question or like a more serious question, or I would just kind of like get their view first, and then I would test. If I really did truly disagree, I'm like, okay, whatever they say, I'm going to state my opinion. No matter what their answer is, what their body language is, I'm going to come out and I'm going to state my opinion. And I started doing that. I did that around my family. That was terrifying. I started doing that around friends. I started talking like deeper about my faith and my religion. And I started getting more comfortable with that. And I realized with every instance that this was happening, they didn't do anything. They didn't fight me. They didn't scream at me. They didn't slam doors in my face. They were just like, oh, okay. If they disagreed, they would ask me about it. Well, why do you think? And I started to realize, like, no matter what, if I'm surrounded by the right people, they're going to love me anyways. They're going to love my viewpoints. They're going to try to understand them, even if they don't understand them. When I think back, I'm like, I would never treat anybody like that. Like if somebody has a different viewpoint than me, or like different likes, or they have like a weird funky laugh, I'm not going to shut them out. So why am I changing myself and terrified that these people are going to do that to me? And if they do, then screw them. They're not like my real friends, my real family. So what does it matter? I started realizing like people were responding to me way better. Even online, even on social media. I feel like a little part of my social media journey, I would kind of like, I wouldn't fake who I was, but I would like, sometimes I would just kind of like over exert myself, like over push myself out there. And then once I got into this setting, like podcasting and doing like long form content, I started realizing like, okay, this is me speaking to you in the camera. Like, this is how I am. This is how I am with my friends. This is how I am with my family. I'm not faking anything. And that in itself is like super freeing, because then that makes me realize like I'm having strangers like my stuff. I'm having strangers comment and subscribe. I'm so sorry. I forgot to breathe. Hold on a minute. If you have ADHD, does this happen to you? My brain can't multitask, and sometimes when I like get in the mood, like I just forget how to breathe. Okay. Oh my gosh, what was I even saying? My lungs distracted me. Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm being myself. And you start realizing like it's really not as scary as it looks. I feel like my friendships got deeper. Even like the relationship with my husband got deeper, I feel. Because then you start realizing like the people around you actually love you 110% for who you are. Like all your little quirks, all your little interests, all your little weird stuff that you didn't like showing to other people. Like it really doesn't matter. It's really not that big of a deal. Babe, your shoulders are gonna relax. You're going to be more chill. You're going to be that cool girl that everybody loves because you're 110% yourself. There's so much relief in not having to shape shift constantly. And the right people will show up. When you stop pretending, the right people will show up. They're going to drop into your life. You're going to meet that best friend. You're going to have that amazing relationship. I'm telling you, once you start changing what's up in here, everything else is going to start changing out there. Okay. My little bit of advice for you, if you're really struggling with this, if you're really a chameleon, at this point you ain't a chameleon, you're just invisible. You a big invisible dragon. You the Loch Ness monster at this point. If it's really just you're a lost cause, this is my advice to you. Ask yourself first, who am I when nobody's watching me? Who am I by myself? And who was I as a child? Once you have that down, you are going to stop apologizing for who you are. You're going to stop apologizing for your personality. You're going to stop apologizing for your opinions. Okay, you're going to state those opinions. Don't apologize for your quirks. You got an ugly ass laugh? Someone's making fun of you? Laugh louder. Now, once you start tapping into who you really are, you are going to now surround yourself with people that enjoy the real you. If you're starting to notice once you're making these little changes about you, and your current friend group isn't really liking it, they're like, why are you acting like this? Or they're kind of shutting you out, not really inviting you places anymore. Screw them. There are too many people on this planet. There's so many more friends that you can make. There's so many more people that you can date. Okay, there are relationships that you can get out of. But this is like super, super important. You have to remember that not everyone's gonna like you. And you gotta get used to the fact that once you start putting out who you really are into this world, there are going to be people who give you a negative response. And remember, you do not need to be liked and loved by everybody. You need to be liked and loved by the right people. Oh, that just came out of me. That was freaking fire. Oh, I'm going to leave it off on a good note. Now, guys, listen. Now, usually this is the part of the podcast where I answer advice questions. I'm going to be honest with you, I have a problem. I have a problem with consistency. I'm trying to just like shoot out these episodes left and right, but it's not happening. Sometimes it's taking me 2 weeks to do this. But I would just like you to know, for this episode, I don't have any questions ready because I'm filming on a Saturday. And guess what? I just dropped my last episode on this morning. So instead, I'm going to keep it going and I'm still going to answer advice questions, but I'm going to answer advice from myself. We're going to have a little schizophrenia moment. Hold on. Let's see, what issues do I have at the moment? Oh, I just mentioned it, my consistency. Okay, let's see. Hi, I'd like to come on here and ask an advice question. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm English. Hello, I'd like to ask an advice question. So I'm having a lot of problems with consistency. I'm trying weekly to come out with this podcast. It's a really good idea. I really enjoy doing it, but sometimes I just can't bring myself to actually get up and do it, you know? So like, that was Australian, I think. So what can I do? Like, what are some things that I can implement in my life to help? Babe, that's a really good question. But the number one thing is that you literally just like can't go based off of motivation. And that's what I feel like you're doing. I feel like you're waiting for this spark to come up, and it's going to be like you're waiting for the same spark to come up that came up when you first had this idea. And you know what, like that fades. Like that excitement really does fade through time, and then you got to set in and realize like, this is work. And you need to stop making excuses for yourself. You know what? I may not take it because usually I don't take my own advice, but I need to. So I appreciate it. I don't know what that segment was. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for joining in if you're still here through that weird skit. I don't know what that was. I apologize. But anyways, yeah, I need more questions. I love to answer advice questions. I want to give people advice because I don't take my own. So if you want to ask me some questions, you can comment down below or you can DM me on my Instagram. It's at the Don't Be Dumb podcast. Okay? Y'all, I love this episode. It touches the deep, deep chambers of my heart because I think this is the biggest problem I really have had since I was a child. Let me know if you are struggling with this chameleon effect or if you got out of it. I would love to know your story in the comments. And remember, y'all, don't be dumb.